And for the first talk today, we're going to be talking about platinum 3D printing. And I'm very happy to have Wong and Maeve Gillies here together. And we're going to have a conversation about their project on platinum 3D printing. And you also brought some jewels that people can come and take a look at afterwards. So thank you so much for coming, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody.
Test it out. Hi. Hi, I'm Ty. Yeah. I'm Ty Wong from Platinum Guild International.
And I'm Maeve Gillies. I am a designer based in Scotland and between Scotland and the US.
Yeah. Can I? So, the technology around additive manufacturing is rapidly enhancing. We see this in other industries. We see it in aerospace. We see it in defense. We see it in medical. And we also know that additive manufacturing is going to be a very important tool for jewelry production in the future, and even now. But we always get the question, is it ready for production? Is it efficient in terms of time and cost? Is it ready for mass adoption? So to try it out, we figure instead of doing a one piece or a one-off, we need an entire collection to really test the benefits and the limitations around additive manufacturing, and specifically for selective laser melting, or SLM. And also, in particular to platinum, not only because I'm from Platinum Guild International, but also because platinum has always been deemed as a very good material for the laser sintering and also the laser melting technology. And also currently, where the platinum price is sitting relative to gold, platinum is at a very advantageous position to capture the market. So in order to do that, I think it was one morning, autumn morning in 2022, I picked up the phone and called Maeve and asked her and gave her that design challenge to design specifically for 3D printing and to trial how the design aspect and the technical aspect would play out in platinum. So.
And I was so excited to take that call because as a designer, I've been in the industry for many years now, and I'm always really inspired by what technology can add to what we already have in our toolbox. I'm a bench-trained jeweler since the beginning, and kind of love to have that kind of combination of the past and the future, bringing it together. So for me, it was really an ideal opportunity to look at what already was happening in metal technology in other industries, automotive, aerospace, and look at the kind of structures that were being made possible with big budgets and with major applications and great potential within their industries, and think how that might work in precious metal. We were very lucky to be including in the conversation ProGold in Italy, who have already been working in this space, making amazing pieces for some time. And the powder technology was just coming to the stage where I could put those things together and kind of create this vision. So I really wanted to kind of push the boundaries and make something that was not just fully commercially focused like my normal work might be, but was really driven by artistry combined with technology and going to places which were kind of scary because we didn't know if it would work.
Yeah.
And that's really where the name of the collection is called TўSAIRE, which is Scottish Gaelic. I'm from Scotland, and this is a word that means pioneer. So that kind of brave step into a new arena where you don't really know where you're going, you don't know what will happen, but try and do something really brave with that and not just design something that could be cast or made in another way. So that was really the brief, and it was exciting to begin working on it.
Yeah, and Maeve, if you want to share a little bit about the collection itself and the design concept as well.
So the pieces were really inspired by my Celtic inspiration comes from my heritage, my language, my people, and the place that I come from. All of my work is really inspired by this past. I always start with research into the past, beautiful objects from the national museums, pieces that connect us to the past of metalwork of excellence and significance internationally that has gone before us. And so I really wanted to kind of weave those design elements, spiraling and infinity symbols and things from Celtic art that I felt would kind of have a really interesting tension when they were displayed in a super modern, technologically driven object, and making it precious. Here you see some objects that are actually at the National Museum walking around there in Scotland, and the pieces itself we kind of wanted to show and showcase the native printed surface of the platinum, almost so you could kind of take a screenshot, like a capture of where the technology is today. So when you see the rough surfaces, it's intentionally showcased, tensioned against super highly polished surfaces in the platinum and in the titanium, which we use to inject the colour and the light into the collection as well. And these stones here are native Scottish stones that are hand gathered and 3D scanned to make beds that would fit them perfectly. And I love that kind of contrast between the fragile stone that's kind of, comes from the ground, and then this beautifully engineered platinum bed that it's going to fit into in kind of this modern technological version.
Yeah, and when we received the sketches from Maeve, I was absolutely thrilled because I felt the design direction that Maeve has taken really does work towards the specific attributes of 3D printing. The hollowness, the hollow structures, a lot of the movement parts. I think we have something that can really test to do something that casting or hand fabrication cannot achieve. And also, the design is just full of personalities, and it's the tension that really speaks out to me. So the tension and the contrast between the titanium, the color titanium, and also the platinum white, the surfaces, the highly polished platinum shine compared to the original texture of the 3D printed pieces, and of course the aesthetics, the traditional Celtic aesthetics with state-of-the-art technology. I think that combination and tension was something that was very exciting. So I think from sketch to CAD, and then to the initial prototyping of titanium samples, and then to final platinum prints, I think it took us like a year and a half, and it's way longer than we expected. But so is the process of innovation. And not all the delays happened because of technical issues, but a lot of it was due to difficult challenges that we have to get through. And just to highlight 3 of them that really stuck in my mind as we went through that process, the first one was the CAD work that was involved. So when we were CADing from the modeler and submitted that to the printers, they're like, well, we can't print this. You can print waxes off from these, but we're not going to print metal off this. The way it sits together, the way it combines, the way they might be calculating for shrinkage. We actually had to go back to 4 different programs to re-CAD a lot of the pieces. And to give a very vivid example, one of the things that was for example, these tubes. Yeah. And let me just advance this as well. The tubes, if you can come up and see this later, there's a lot of surfaces and contours on the surface. And when we first did the CAD, the inside of the tube was smooth. It was just like a straw. But the problem with that is we're printing in platinum. If you do titanium and silver, that weight is hardly felt. But in platinum, every single gram is around 50 euro. And a big piece like that, easily you're up to 20 grams, 30 grams, and we're talking about a huge amount of money. And not just because of the cost, we just have to keep it light and wearable. So actually reworking a lot on the inside of the CAD took a huge amount of work and took a lot of time and took a lot of effort. And that was something that went a lot of back and forth before we can actually get to the actual prints. Another one that we slightly touched on is that different from titanium or other sort of metal printing, when we get into the precious metal, the cost of the precious metal, it's going to throw a huge constraint around the technical possibilities. One thing, for example, is ideally in the 3D print, you want to print everything sort of in a 45-degree angle so you can minimize the support. Well, in order to do some of the bigger pieces, we wanted to print the tube sort of vertically and to minimize the support. But it would require a huge amount of platinum powder to fill that chamber. And that would be like 5 kilograms, 6 kilograms of platinum, and we're looking at like 200,000 euro, which we didn't have for this project. And the printer is not going to put that in and calculate for the wastage and the loss. So we were restricted back down to printing a lot of the geometries, the orientation, taking a more horizontal sort of print orientation. And so the point is, the cost of the precious metal, be it gold or platinum, is really going to have some restriction on how the printing is going to work. Which brings us to the third point that really stuck to my mind is when we started printing this way, instead of printing the tube, now we have to print the cross-section. We have to start building supports inside the tubes. And then we have to try to reduce the amount of support that was on the underside. because all that support, it's going to end up being scrap. It's going to end up having huge amount of work for cleanup, which all added to the cost. So even from titanium printing all the way to platinum printing, I think it took us another 5-6 months to get there. A lot of recalibration had to be done before we get the platinum print nets. So there were a lot of other minor sort of technical issues, but those are the three that really stayed with me. And if I can kind of just summarize that whole impression working through this journey, I think with one thought is that 3D printing with direct metal printing for precious metal, it's not a simple plug and play. It's not a simple plug and play. You can't sort of like buy a printer, plug it in, and use it like a desktop printer and print resin and waxes. When it comes to precious metal, the cost of the powder is going to come into play. Powder specification, laser optimization, and just the software is required to, and the knowledge to build those supports is going to be very, very specific. And lucky for us, we were working with the expertise of the ProGo team. So collaboratively, we were able to solve a lot of these technical issues over time. So, and Maeve, how did you feel when you were working between the titanium pieces and then also the platinum pieces?
Well, for me, it was just that moment when you say, well, I've seen this in another application, so I know it's possible. I know you can do it. So it was like a backwards and forwards where you're like, I don't know if that will be possible, but then will it be possible with platinum? So to actually see the pieces coming out in metal after I'd had these kind of visions in my mind, you know, you have these dreams at night and you wake up and you scribble something in your sketchbook and you get really excited and then you go and you think, how are we actually going to make this happen? And I'm much more used to a much faster turnaround, bringing products to market and working in areas like bridal and working with platinum every day, but where there's no such problems because you're working with flow dynamics and casting where it's quite straightforward and you know what you can and can't do. So this was something I was just determined that I could see platinum in this big, fun, fashionable, versatile, modern, fresh way. And so I really wanted to push it through. And seeing the first samples in titanium and then actually seeing it proven that it could be printed in platinum was like a kind of like a eureka moment because there was still finishing to do and working on the details. But I was confident in that because we really wanted to showcase that printing technology and snapshot it today to say this is what was the best that we could do today and not try and hide that, not polish it off and kind of use that as a feature, almost like a surface of the moon contrasted against the high polished surfaces. So really for me, I was just really delighted to see it coming together in metal. It was like a dream come true, basically.
Yeah. And how was the experience polishing the 3D printed platinum? Was there difference between the way it was casted or the way you hand fabricated platinum before? Given because the way it shapes and forms, the platinum actually reaches a high of 170 Vickers. So the polishing felt, I think the shine really came through of the prints.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And it was doubly beautiful because, you know, I've got my loop around my neck, because I usually do, and thinking I can't really look at these surfaces anymore without having the super shiny on the top. Like, I got to get this polish. It's because it really completed it to be able to take it to the final moment where you could polish it and really see that shine contrasting with the matte. Because if it was just matte and it just had those surfaces, it wasn't telling the whole story. And so to get that final polish and to see it coming through so beautifully and such high quality was really important. So it was like the last click that made the whole thing come together.
So we're going to share with you some of the pieces. They're all here. Also, you can
Please
come
and
see it
them
afterwards.
It's not often you get to touch jewelry at the shows, right, Ty?
At the talks, right? So we're going to deep dive into 5 of the different pieces, talking a little bit more specifically how the designing towards 3D printing works, and then also doing a comparison between what is castable and what is printable. So this is the King's Torque, or sorry, the Torque of the King of the Mountains. So obviously, we couldn't print this in one piece because it was so huge. So we have to break it into 5 different pieces. The yellow part you see is the titanium. And I personally feel the platinum tubing, the hollow tubes, is perfect for 3D printing because of its intricate surface design. And it really just, we're able to create a much lighter piece, through 3D printing because we can control the precision of the wall thickness. Do you want to talk a little bit about the crystal in the centerpiece?
Well, this is it's a quartz from Renfrewshire, which is an area in Scotland. And again, it's just, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's hand gathered, and I love that kind of tension between something that was highly produced and industrial and something that was just from nature. And the whole concept of the collection was this kind of fairy tale jewel collection coming to life. If you could dream it, you could make it happen. And I love that idea of like bringing the earth to the metal and making them speak to each other and kind of support each other, and the fragility of the stone next to the durability of the platinum as the ultimate, strength metal.
Yeah. And so also kind of like the hollow tube, we adopted that into doing the cuffs. And I think the complete hollow structure, the thinness of the walls, and also the intricate pattern makes this a very ideal design for 3D printing that is very, very hard to achieve in casting. I can't say I can't cast this. I wouldn't want to cast it. It would be very difficult and very challenging. So if we start also planning for the sort of a mass production of these geometries, stacking them sideways, I think producing these products, there's a huge advantage of using 3D printing as a technology to produce geometries like these. Yeah.
And this is the perfect example of using a decorative application to an industrial mesh. So that idea of making a fully hollow form, but you just designing the surface in the way that you would do if it was solid, but knowing it was going to have a hollow inside. And for me, it's just to see and feel platinum on that scale, but ultra light, was a very exciting moment, because I knew this is what it would be like, and I was very excited about that.
Yeah. Then we have the ring. So this is a piece that we initially printed in titanium. But in the end, when we made it in platinum, we actually casted it. I think I've also had the privilege of judging on several 3D printing contests. I think the one product type that really restricts the 3D printing sort of possibilities is the ring. Maybe it's because of its compact dimension, also the details that you can actually play around with it. A lot of the submissions that I've seen in 3D printing contests when it comes to rings, a lot of it was castable. And just so happened in our case, we were able to cast this too. We're bringing this up because we also did a price comparison. Casting this and printing this, I think for this specific ring, when we did it, the printing cost was about 25% to 30% higher than casting. So due to time, due to cost, we actually went with casting for this one. Yeah. And earrings. So while the rings are very good for casting, earrings, I think, is perfect for 3D printing.
Yeah, and again, what's really coming through here is the lightness. So being able to wear, a platinum hoop earring that's of some scale, and these are, they're not tiny. They're this size. So you really get that fun contrast. It shows the 3D printed surface. It shows the platinum in its natural state that you're used to seeing it, with the polish on the outside, contrasted with the titanium that's also brushed back to show its natural state too. So we made this in a wide kind of color range to show the possibilities. But again, just a fun, large platinum hoop, and taking platinum into an area you might not normally be seeing it.
Yeah. Again, I love the contrast on it, just the color. And also the titanium, and the use of titanium sort of lightens the entire piece. And also the high polish versus the printed texture. I think that has a very, very interesting visual play.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it works well on the hoops. You can really see it.
So these are some of my favorites. I think when it comes to 3D printing of direct metal, I honestly believe interlocking structures or printed chains as like one chain, like this is where 3D printing really shines and contributes its magic, because this is something that's going to take a lot of work for hand assembly, and it's something that you wouldn't normally cast. So we started playing with various different prototypes, and we have one or two. We have some some printed in titanium, and we have one piece printed also directly in platinum. Yeah. And these moving structures and moving bits is where I honestly feel if we are to continue to take this collection forward, this is one aspect that we would further work into. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so exciting for me as somebody, when you work through production and you see how much work it takes to assemble all these items, and the idea that you can just take that step out of the chain if you just take step out of the chain is a good way to frame it. But to actually to design it when it comes off the printer and it's basically ready to go. You're just removing the supports and it's all integrated, interlocked. There is so much potential there for design to make exciting things that customers will really understand when they can see the potential of what it's bringing to you that was not possible before. So this is just beginning to scratch the surface of what can be done.
And I feel this is where 3D printing and what it can do starts to deviate from traditional jewelry designs. Like this is where industrial design and architecture, because it's structural engineering, like all the interlocking parts are no longer traditional like jewelry design. And to be able to open that up and the collaboration cross-industry, I think that's what's really going to open up the design possibility for direct metal printing.
Yeah, and I think as jewelry designers, we really are miniature engineers, and we're miniature, structure composers, and really just to take it, it's like sculpture on a tiny scale. And I think we're underestimated with what we can do with that knowledge and just applying it in precious metals. So yeah, there's so much that can be done, and looking at industrial applications and different ways that it's being used, and kind of bringing that to the precious space.
Yeah, and this piece, I think one thing I want to highlight is we have functional bits and parts. We have closes and clasps. We have so many different prototypes that we actually haven't launched. Clips that allows the wearer and the owners to do DIY, mix and match. But I also feel 3D printing and sort of these structural engineering is where we have to do further work to play to the functionality, so that 3D printing is really bringing a novel experience to the wearer. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much to work on there, and we, like I say, this is a segment of the collection that we produced in Platinum, so we could really get everybody's feedback. So please do come up and tell us what you think afterwards.
Yeah. So Maeve, if you want to share some key insights throughout this whole journey of designing specifically for direct metal printing.
Yeah. Do you want to put the points up there, Ty?
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure I don't double copy over anything. Yeah. But basically what Ty was just mentioning there, basically cross-industry design research, looking at what people are doing in furniture design, vehicle design. There's so much happening out there. And again, like I was saying, just applying that knowledge on a small scale. 3D printing offering greater design freedom and flexibility. We've covered that already. It's really, there is nothing that you can't do with these new technologies. And it's so exciting even hearing from ProGold what they're going to be doing in a couple of years and where that space is moving. It's really going to be exciting technology, and to bring customers along on that journey of understanding it and giving that transparency to the brilliance of this process that time is giving us. Basically, we can design what cannot be cast. I think that's really what I was trying to do here, was trying to make things that couldn't be cast. And as somebody that's worked with casting for a long time and loves casting, it's really just another tool in the toolbox, and it's a very exciting one. New design structures and efficiencies are possible, which we've covered, and new customer experiences and customization. So the idea that in the future, 3D printing is going to be something that even consumers will probably have access to themselves. They'll become designers themselves, and how will we as industry professionals and designers interact and make that an enjoyable experience where we can bring our expertise and work with them when that technology is as close to them as it will be in the future. So it's a very exciting time to kind of explore that from a jeweler's perspective.
Okay. So you want to introduce the video that we're
so this is a video that we shot in the Scottish Highlands at Inverary Castle. It's shot by an amazing photographer, Jennifer Czar, and it features her daughter, Ona, who's a very talented musician. She actually did the music for the track as well. So if you could turn the music up so we can hear it, and you'll get a sense of how modern and fun we wanted it to be.
I can't be a promised one. I can't be a pedestal. I'm a heretic of new. I'm a martyr, hatchet, cross. See
And that's her husband in real life as well, keeping it in the family. Thanks for watching, everybody.
So the website, yeah.
Just if you're going to learn more, I'm going to hand over to Luca in a minute to tell you some amazing things about what's happening with Platinum. And if you want to learn more about the collection, please do visit maevegillies.com, and Platinum Guild as well will be featuring it. And please do come up at the end and tell us what you really think. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
for
two more slides.
starting, just okay.
Two more slides in the end.
We have the latest one. Yeah. So, thanks everybody for the attention. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. I represent here ProGold. My name is Luca. Seeing the finished, polished pieces, assembled pieces, you know, in our side we used to see the as-printed items. So we start from the design. We struggle sometimes with the design because it's a process, as Maeve was saying. It was very well telling you. But seeing the actual physical pieces in here is like when you see your creature growing. So it's really a pleasure and an honor. I take this opportunity, as we were talking about before, technical issues, innovation, and processes. In ProGold, we organized for this year in Vicenza the Vicenza Symposium. What is the Vicenza Symposium? It's a biannual international event that aims to become the world #1 congress for jewelry, fashion, and luxury segment. Okay, it will be based in Vicenza from September 2nd to 4th. We choose this location basically for many reasons. We are based in Vicenza, also in our company, in the Vicenza province. Vicenza is one of the 3 main jewelry districts for the production in Italy. And we also thought that an event like this one would have been amazing to have a fantastic place to host it. Because really the aim of this event is to reunite the big players of the jewelry field, the professionals, and all the academics that can help really to make the conversation grow, go through very high skill technical subjects like additive manufacturing, as in this case, but also for alloys, master alloys, quality control, finishing and polishing, solutions, issues. Okay, this is a congress that aims to work on the problem solving for the future threats, for the future challenges. And it's also, in our opinion, and this is something we firmly believe in, a super massive occasion for high quality networking. Imagine having in the same place at the same time lots of people sharing with you, first of all, the passion, because otherwise no one would be here in this beautiful fair, but also the technical skills in order to go deeper in the discussion and making really a comparison between different ideas and different production processes and different cultures also, okay? The importance of the type of organization we did to go through for this event is that we, as a ProGold, decided to organize with the Italian Exhibition Group as a hosting partner, but also with Legor, which is well known as one of our also competitors for the kind of products and activities that we do. But we decided to push this in order to give to this event, to this congress, a sense of integrity and clarity, and also equality. We didn't want one of the two sides to push one of their interests. So basically, we wanted this to be very, very objective, okay, as a meeting. Just to spend a couple of words more, you will see the scientific committee and all the community that will be present in this event. As I said, will be very, very important and very useful also to improve our knowledge in some specific topics. And I believe that having, as we said, different producer, but also different players, as you can see from the list of the scientific committee, really helped us to have a fantastic panoramic, okay, in what is the state of the art today, what are the problems, which could be the possible solution, and how can we go through innovation to solve this. So, I won't take that much long time. You will find some flyers. We are also starting to making advertisement and pushing the event on the social media. Please take care of our dream, because we really believe that this kind of congresses help people to make their passion grow even more. Okay? And this is something that we do in order to allow people like Maeve, but like probably some of you or some of the exhibitors in here, to find the best and the more proper way to go from an idea to the design, to the production process, to the finished pieces. Okay?
It'll be no doubt be a great event to continue the passion that's actually at the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just I want to take the opportunity to thank the Inhorgenta Show for giving us the opportunity to debut our presentation. So, and thank you, Dr. Laurent Cartier, for
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have time for Q&A, or I think we just ran out of time?
We ran out of time, unfortunately, but I think that both Tay and Maeve will be around. So if you have any questions or you want to see some of the jewelry, feel free to connect with them after this talk. Thank you again for your talk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.